welcome, folks. Welcome to Winning on Wednesday. My name is Juan Vides, and the purpose we're here is to simply get to know each other. I always say people do business who they know, like, and trust. And knowing, like, and trusting, I'd like to introduce my guest today on the show is Pei Wu. Pei, how are you?
I'm well. How are you, Juan?
Very good. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming here. So quickly introduce yourself.
Sure. I'm Pei Wu. I am the president and co-founder of MWBE Unite. We are a mission-focused real estate services firm. We're here to solve some of the challenges around supplier diversity in commercial real estate.
Excellent. I can't wait to hear more about that. So tell us, where did it all get started? Where were you, where were you born, and tell us your history.
Well, so I am a first-generation immigrant. I was born in Taiwan, came over to the States and straight to New York City in the early 1980s, and grew up in Brooklyn, New York. So a true New Yorker through and through. Really sort of got the first experience around the power of real estate by being in the heart of central New York, where it was a crossroad of many different ethnicities and many different demographics, and truly lived the diversity of the city.
Wow. So you have many, many years. Wow. So what did you have any aspirations or goals when you were a kid? Like what you wanted to become?
I like any child, you go through, all kinds of explorations. At one point, I wanted to be a teacher. At another point, I wanted to be a nurse. I did a lot of artwork when I was in school, including being the editor of the yearbook for all the artwork that was done. Did a lot of theater art, and so always had a bit of a creative bent. But found myself, coming from an immigrant background and humble beginnings, was, drawn to how do I actually apply the art into business. Got a degree in interior design and facilities planning, and that sort of started my journey on the built environment and corporate real estate.
Oh, wow. And I mean, there was arts was a hobby. So did
Yeah,
hobby?
you can say that. Yeah, a lot of drawing, a lot of painting.
Yeah.
Painting at long hours, painting backdrops for the plays that were happening at school.
But you
Yeah,
enjoyed it. You enjoyed it, right?
I did. I did.
Oh, okay.
There was power in sort of taking what you see out there and through your hands, putting it on paper.
Yeah, being creating. Wow.
Yes,
Yeah, wow.
yes.
So that's creating other ways. And what was your what you go to school for, or what? Tell us about your school history, where you went to school, and what was your journey
So
about that into the real world?
yeah. So I went to Midwood High School in Brooklyn, New York, and actually at one point was a pre-med major,
Mhm.
um, but then also then pivoted once I got to college and really went into the applied art side. So I have a degree in environmental psychology, and it really was focused on research-based, like evidence-based around how the environment impacted people's behavior. So it's kind of a very interesting bent to design and planning, but it grounds everything that I do today, which is all about problem solving.
Mm. So tell us about your first job experience and how was that like, into what you're doing now?
Uh, yeah, my first job was actually I moved from New York to Chicago. Worked at a very large hospital, Northwestern Memorial. I was part of the facilities engineering contract services department. Really dealt with project management, space planning, space management for, at the time, probably about not quite 1.5 million square feet of, hospital space, office space, even got into property management and, the tenant side of the business. And so that was my first job out of school, which was really kind of helping, a major hospital with their space.
Wow, that was like a eye open experience, I would say. To have that.
Eh, Yeah, it was. It was. And hospitals are a special environment, right? It's not only, and especially post-COVID, we find ourselves really looking at the wellness of how environments really impact people. Hospitals, I think, for generations, it's all about healing and wellness, but now truly, I think we're at a very interesting point where a lot of hospitals are having to kind of change things up in order to compete for patients, right? So there's nowadays also a much more focus around the experience, not just how it's designed and laid out.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then from there you decided to do go on your own, right? I guess after all.
Yeah, actually, no, I took a few steps. I'm one of those people that, I pivoted throughout my career. So after, doing hospital related project management, I pivoted to doing professional services consulting, for what at the time was the parent company of Arthur Andersen and Andersen Consulting. So I did global workplace strategy, traveled a lot globally doing projects. And then I went actually to into consulting for major companies, really looking at how they transform their workplace, before I went, up through the route of the executive management with companies like TD Bank and American Express and Deloitte, managing their portfolio of spaces.
Wow, that's exciting. That must have been exciting to have that, to achieve all that, to come
It was a
where
lot
you
of
are.
work.
Yeah, I know.
It was
It's
a
a lot
lot
of
of
work.
work, but very purposeful work, which was
Right.
important.
Wow.
I think a lot of people don't realize how much work goes into shaping not only the spaces, but managing the assets and creating the experiences that most of us take for granted and where we live, work, play, and study. Somebody actually took the time to design all of that, right?
Yeah.
And making sure that it operates seamlessly. And that's really has been my life's work. Sort of going back and forth between the buy side of the industry and the sell side of the industry.
Wow. You know what? I think this is a good time for the golden nugget moment. And the golden nugget moment, I like to say, is something is a piece of information you'd like to leave behind, something to better their career, something to make them, some piece of advice that you learned from your journey that you can leave behind for us.
Yeah, so I have to say that I'm a continued learner, and I learn a lot of stuff along the way. The one thing that has always guided my, I guess, my career journey is that I try to connect the dots and lean into my curiosity, because there's a whole lot of stuff in this world to be curious about. And so I would say that's the one thing that, I think a lot of people might say, oh, how do you actually plan your career? Well, careers find you if you lean into your curiosity and actually um, try to solve interesting problems. And that's my golden nugget.
Wow. Yeah, that's excellent. I like that. Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much. And what about network of communities, organizations, or spheres of influence? Do you belong to any of those?
Yeah, I do get involved with a lot of industry related associations. I'm very active with Cornet, which is a corporate real estate executive network. And that's a global organization. I speak on a regular basis with associations like, CREW and NAOP and, REBNY and ULI, those types of organizations, depending on what the need is. Sometimes I'm moderating panels. Sometimes I am, putting a webinar together. So I do try and, not only be involved in terms of planning for events, I try to help create some thought leadership where I can. As an example, last week I was actually in North Carolina, assembling a whole conversation around, AI in the built environment. So trying to kind of really continue to look in the progressive areas where the industry can move and also where the industry can learn from some other parts of, other business areas.
Yeah, no, isn't it amazing with the AI, just how it's just I mean, making my job easier, like,
Yeah, no, and I wish, I wish I could really clone a lot of the processes and actually make it, and to your point, you can definitely get much more efficient in the way you do
yes,
things.
100%.
So I think I need to, like, hire a few, millennials and Gen Zs and Gen Alphas to, like, teach me, the ropes around the
Yep.
latest in tech. So
Oh yeah, you'd be surprised. My kids know a lot of stuff, and I'm like, sometimes they teach me. So even if I
yeah,
learn,
yeah,
it's
absolutely.
like they learn. So it's really cool to do that. That's amazing.
It's an exciting time. It really is.
It is a lot of innovating stuff. I just had this conversation with a friend of mine that with AI is going to bring in new stuff. It's gonna better stuff, new materials, undiscovered stuff, better health. Actually, we may live longer.
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting because there's a lot of parameter, a lot of good stuff. Yeah, people are talking about the negative stuff, but it's always a balance. I would always say.
It's a
Every
balance. I think it'll improve the quality of life. We just need to
100%.
figure out how to actually make it,
Mm,
so that
but
it augments what
at,
people are doing.
and at the end of the day, you're always gonna need the human touch.
Yes, yes,
I
because it
don't.
is about connecting people. Yes.
You're always gonna need because, and the other thing is that I always tell people we are creators. We are in
Mhm.
ourself creators. Computers cannot create.
Mhm.
They cannot think and create. We
They're
that's
copying. Yeah,
the
they're copying and building on.
they're
Yeah.
not. We are creators, so they can't replicate that. So
Mhm.
that the day that it's gonna take over, that well, that's what's another day, another topic.
Yeah.
So tell us about your services. I want to hear more about your what you do and what we your services of your company and what does it was MWB United, right? MWB United.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
tell us
So,
about that.
yeah, so after a long journey in corporate and commercial real estate, I co-founded MWB Unite about 2.5 years ago with my business partner, Jody Police. And we are extending, really the uniting the power of, all the MWBEs and underrepresented companies out there that service the real estate industry, for sort of collaboration, for pitching, different types of projects. And in a very short amount of time, we've
Hey,
managed to not only, um, sort of get real projects with companies, but also major multi-year contracts with at the city and at the state level, which is exciting.
excellent. That's excellent. That's amazing work that you do need that. Actually, believe it or not, my company here, Tech ACS, I submitted for New York City at my MBE, but that was in February. I'm still waiting to hear back from them. So I know there's a
Well,
delay,
that's good. That's good. Well, it sounds like we're going to be working together soon.
but we'll see. As long as it goes approved, but we're still waiting. And I'm trying to. Well, we'll see. I know there's a long process and they're backlogged and yada yada. But we'll see. Hopefully they can hear me out on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. No. And it's interesting, right? Because I've had folks that asked, okay, so are you a list agency? Are you looking to be the certifying agency? I said, nope. We're here to do interesting real estate projects. We happen to have a purpose in threading through as many diverse firms as possible, because it's about creating generational capacity. It's about people participating in interesting projects. And it's not only like the legacy stuff where, we're doing design, construction, property management type of work, but it's also exploring areas around sustainability, technology. We've had conversations around drones. We're looking at electric vehicles. So we're submitting projects that are also on the innovative fronts,
Yep.
not just the traditional real estate disciplines. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It actually uncovers a segment of the industry that I didn't spend a lot of time in, and now get to really kind of focus on and learn all kinds of new and interesting companies that are out there every day.
Yeah, to your point, like you said, we're consistent, like always learning, right? We're always learning, and the more you learn, the more you're better off, that you are. I mean, I know so much about the supplier diversity field, and because of being out there, going to events,
Mm-hmm.
going to trade shows, knowing. So I got Terrence Clark. Terrence Clark was on the show.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah,
Yes.
but he's just from the New York Council, right? So it's really interesting. So, and again, it's about who you know too. It's about that network. It's about
Mm-hmm.
getting to know people, like we had talked about earlier about that. So it's really it's all those. So it's great, amazing. And any uh specific industries that are you involved with currently? Like any new clients do you have right now? Like, can you talk about? We don't need to know about the names, but what industries do you like? Did you have anything new this year or that you could maybe
Yeah,
talk about?
as I mentioned, we won a 10-year sustainability contract.
Oh,
You know,
congratulations!
thank you.
Yeah.
And also a 5-year city level contract for space planning, space management, project management. We're submitting lots of sustainability related types of proposal because that is, a very important aspect of many municipalities. And then we're also having a lot of great conversations with major corporates. We have one project that's active right now working with a retailer company. We're waiting on a decision with a major technology company. So it cuts the full gamut. Because I think, as you can appreciate, in this industry and in this environment that we're in, you can't anticipate what the clients are ready and willing to buy, but whatever services it is that they're looking for, we want to be part of the mix and make sure that we're able to tee up some diverse suppliers to be part of the slate. And so yesterday we were talking to a major management consulting firm, and they're bidding on a transportation project, and so we're able to offer up some choices around engineering firms and folks that might have some transaction work that can be part of the potential proposal. So
Wow. Well, listen, Pei. I mean, there's something we definitely got to need to talk to because I we definitely got to keep on talking. There's something I have in mind. But thank you so much for sharing your story. And if people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to contact you?
you can reach me on my phone number, which is on the video, 212-445-1227. You're also welcome to send me an email at paywoo@mwbeunite.com. And I'm an avid LinkedIn networker, so I can be reached on LinkedIn as well. And my contact information is on LinkedIn.
Pei Wu, thank you so much. And if you want to be a guest on Winning on Wednesday, simply go to our website, www.winningonwednesday.com, and sign up as a first time guest. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
Take care. Thank you.